spoke to the doctors about his behaviour, the things that he was doing. They were the ones that said, this man is dangerous. He is homicidal / suicidal.
Children crying, saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Denise's Island Dream. And if you're watching for the first time, welcome to Denise's Island Dream. So good to have you here. Thank you to all the recent subscribers, and yes, a big thank you to those of you that have been following my journey. Most of you are aware that I married a narcissist, was with him for 13 years altogether, married for 10 years. And so narcissists, they're bullies, intimidators, gaslighters. They just simply want to control your life. They have their own sense of importance. And the victims of narcissists actually give away their power. And at some point, you just have to take back your power. Otherwise, they'll destroy you in whatever way they can. With my ex, he didn't actually hit me, but it was the emotional abuse and the psychological abuse. That can sometimes be worse, when he would accuse me of things that I didn't say, or accuse me of doing things that I didn't do. It made me do things, or make me do what he wanted me to do, and he would always make me believe that he was doing it because he cared about me and because he loved me. So for example, he'd make up some kind of concoction that I absolutely hated. I know it's good, probably good for me. Well, yeah, garlic's good for you. Ginger and all this stuff, and, orange skin. Just some concoction, just in case you get sick. Have this. This is what we do in Jamaica. Well, I don't like it because it's making me want to vomit. But I didn't care about that. It was like, it's all in your mind. Do what I tell you to do. And, I just didn't want to do it. There was another time when I did actually get sick and had a cold, flu and whatever. And I'd have to keep the, during COVID and whatever, people were scared to cough because they didn't want people to think that they had COVID. Well, it was the same for me. I was holding back the cough because it was annoying him. And then the one night he got a bottle of rubbing alcohol, and I couldn't help it and I was coughing, and he said, because you're not take what me there give you. So he got you're coughing there and nigh me. So he got the rubbing alcohol and poured most of the bottle over my head. And it was actually quite a cool night. And, I had a cold and I was, cold, having to wrap up in sheet. And my nightie's soaking, everything's soaking. And for him, it was my fault because I didn't do what he wanted me to do. And so at the start of COVID, I actually did become very, very ill. I've never been so sick in my entire life. And I remember clearly the date because it was the day of the lockdown, the 20th of March, 2020. And I was so ill. I couldn't eat, completely lost my appetite. He would share out the food, and what I would do is hide it in, just put it in plastic bags and put it under the settee. And he'd think I'd eaten. You know, I'd probably leave a little bit on the plate so it didn't look too suspicious. But he thought I'd eaten, and I got it stuffed under the sofa. Then I'd have to, find the energy and the strength because I was so weak. And I'd hide it in the bin. I could hardly walk. I was so weak. Food became my enemy, and I couldn't keep anything down. So I remember my mum, she called me because, nobody could visit anybody because it was the start of lockdown. So my mum called me and said, that he'd called and you're not well. So everybody was thinking it was COVID, even me, and I thought I was going to die. And I just burst into tears when I was talking to my mum. I said, Mum, he's making me eat food and I don't want to. And I'm hiding it under the chair and throwing it away. And she says, but you'll have to let him know that you don't want to eat. If you don't want to eat, then you just can't eat. And I said, but you don't understand, he's making me. I was just like a little child, really. So we had one of those shower enclosures with the steam and the jacuzzi. So he says, and I was just too weak to argue with him, he said to me, right, just go into the steam, that will make you feel better. I didn't want to go in, but I thought, I'm so ill anyway, will it make me better? But anyway, because there's a little seat in there, he helped me into the bath. I sat on that seat, and the next thing I know, because I'd fainted, and I'm coming round, and he's shouting for Jesus or something. And then he got me back downstairs, and he did call an ambulance, and the ambulance came. But because it was, locked down and it was the start, they said, you're probably safer at home. And they just didn't know what it was. I think I ended up getting some anti-sickness tablets from, the doctor at a later date. But, forcing somebody to eat. And I thought about this the other day. I thought, Denise, the sickest you've ever been is when you've been with that man. And it made me wonder, was he actually causing me to be sick? He would say, and the reason why I say that is because he would say, "You're too yummy," he said, people will want to hurt you with your food, them kind of things. And to stop eating from people because they'll make you, they'll do things to your food. Well, why would people just ordinarily do that? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's not something that was at the forefront of my mind. So it's like, well, why would he be saying all those things? And I'm wondering now, and there was people I was talking to like later, when we'd obviously split up, but still in the same house. And then they were saying, at the time, the mother-in-law was still cooking for me. And people were saying, don't eat from them, people. And I did pray, and I said, God, should I be eating from them? Or her, really, because she did the cooking. And then the scripture, when it talks about you can drink poison and it will by no means harm you. Well, to me, drinking is consuming. So I thought to myself, if they are, or if anybody's trying to do me harm, because I'm blessing my food, and if it's not working, because it won't work, you can't be poisoning me and expect it to work, because God's protecting me. So that'll be one way to get rid of them, if they see that I can't dead. whatever they're doing isn't working. So I carried on eating. I just made sure to bless my food. Yes, so these people, narcissists, are extremely dangerous people. I subscribe to this woman, Burns Beauty. Her narcissist husband set her on fire, claimed it was an accident, but it was done intentionally. Absolutely anybody can be a narcissist. You know, you could be working with them, it could be a member of your family, it could be, you know, even strangers. Yeah, a few months ago, I went into the supermarket and the cashier, well, she was a narcissist or a bully or an intimidator. I don't care, they're all one and the same as far as I'm concerned. I bought some drinks and it came up to $550. Now, I goes into my purse and I don't have $500, but I have $1,000 and I have $50. So I gave her the $1,050 so she can give me back $500 change. And I see her take out a few $1,000 and she calls to the boss and says, can I get some change, some $100? So I was wondering why she didn't ask for 500, but hey ho. So he gives her the money, does the exchange, she puts it in the till and starts to serve the other person. So I'm standing there saying, oh, can I get my $500? She said to me, miss, a $550 you give me. I says, no, I didn't. I said, I gave you $1,050. She said, no, you a $550, miss, calling me lady, calling me all sorts of things. A $550. Then she started to get angry. Her eyes are tearing out at me. And I just stood my ground and I thought, in my mind, you narcissist, you're trying to intimidate me, but you're not going to do it. She probably heard my English accent and thought, yeah, I can scam her. Didn't know who she was dealing with. So I said, and she's going on, making a right scene, and there was people, you know, gathering around and people looking. And I said to her, I gave you $1,050, and she wasn't having it. So I said to her, well, they need to check the till. I'm not going until they've checked the till because I know what I've given you. And she's still adamant that I didn't. She says, look at the receipt. I put $550. I said, I don't care what you put. It's what I gave you that counts. So anyway, the shop owner, the lady, the wife, comes over. She says, oh, what's happened? And I said, she owes me $500. I gave her $1,050. My stuff came up to $550. She owes me $500. So the other, like, you know, they have one sitting up. That's the reason why they have to have them sat up there watching over the place with cameras. I didn't know there were cameras. So the man signalled to me, the owner, and saying, you know, don't worry kind of thing. So when he looked at the camera, he goes, she gave you $8,500. And I said, I didn't. I gave her $1,050. So he like signalled to me, I'll look again. And then he said, she gave you $1,050. The woman was vexed. She looked at me, she took the money out of the till and she dashed it to me. And I just said, thank you. And off I went. Stand up to these bullies. Stand up to them. Don't ever let anybody make you think that, you know, you can't stand up to them or that they're intimidating you or you're with a narcissist partner and just giving in to them. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't give away your power at all. When you stand up to them, I tell you, God will have you back. God will protect you. All it takes is a 4-letter word. Help. That's all. Help. And I tell you, God will step in. And once God steps in, honestly, trust the process. You'll come through. You really come through. These people, they're dangerous. Narcissists are dangerous people, and they get worse with time. The only one really ultimately that can protect you is you. You have to take responsibility. I had to take responsibility and take the actions that was necessary. God was sending me the help. God sent me the help, through the doctors. I took my opportunity when he went to hospital, and I spoke to the doctors about his behaviour, the things that he was doing. They were the ones that said, this man is dangerous. He is homicidal/suicidal. One of the doctors actually said, do you realise you're in spiritual warfare? You need to protect yourself. They advised me, go to the police, get a court order, get some protection for yourself. Now, if I'd have ignored all that, I wouldn't be on YouTube today. I'd be 6 foot under. And the thing is, this is the thing, it's not even a joke. You know, God warns us. Before anything happens, we get warnings, but a lot of times we ignore. I ignored the red flags, but I'm glad I didn't completely do it. You know, God will keep going and keep going until, with some people, it's the bitter end, and they're staying it until they're severely harmed or dead. And years ago, actually, when I met him and came to Jamaica, somebody actually said and told somebody else that this man, he means like me. It doesn't mean her any good. It doesn't mean me any good. He said it to somebody else, and that person came to me and said that. But I weren't going to listen, because this person himself, he wasn't the nicest person really. So it was like taking advice from somebody who didn't, have a good reputation. So I didn't. And he later said that the ex, he might got carry you go to Jamaica and kill you off. That was his words. And the ex was completely vexed about it. Apparently, this man was a reader man. I was told that anything that this person said, it tended to come to pass. I mean, my response was, he ain't God. God will tell me himself. Oh, God. But why he used to say all the time, we need to get a gun, we need to get a gun. I'm thinking, what for? To protect ourselves. I tell you, let me say absolutely no more. But I had to eventually wake up and run. So God will guide us, but God can't make that decision for us. We have to be the ones to actually take the action. Yeah, so on that note, I do hope this has helped someone. And so you stay blessed, and by God's grace, I'll see you in the next video. So thanks so much for watching, and take good care of yourselves. All right, bye for now. Bye.